All right, I'd like to call to order our July 2021 Palm Springs Parks and Recreation meeting. Would everybody like to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely.
Stand. All right. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
of the United States of America,
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
justice for all.
Awesome. All right. Cynthia, would you like to do roll?
Yes. All right, Chair Alcorn,
Present.
Vice Chair Caldonato,
Present.
hold on. Commissioner Armstrong,
Here.
Commissioner Boley,
Present.
Commissioner Crawford,
Here.
Commissioner Diaz,
Here.
Commissioner Goodman,
Here.
Commissioner Moralia,
Present.
Commissioner Meyer,
Present. Thank you.
Commissioner Spellman,
Here. Present.
Commissioner Finland,
Present.
okay. Everybody's in attendance.
Awesome. So do we get a report of the posting of the agenda?
Yes, the agenda for this meeting was posted at City Hall, the Leisure Center, the website, on Wednesday, July 21st, as required and established by policies and procedures.
Awesome. Did everybody have a chance to go over the minutes from the last meeting? Can I get a motion to approve?
I approve.
Before we approve, I have a correction.
Please.
It's my understanding, I don't recall Justin Clifton, our city manager, attending our meeting last time, and he's listed under staff present.
He was in for, I think, like 5 seconds and then he vanished.
Oh, I missed it then.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to approve? Ellen?
Aye.
Thank you, Johnny. Seconded by Johnny.
Who was the motion by? Was it Vice Chair Caldonato or Ellen? There we go.
Ellen.
Commissioner Goodman.
Okay, at this time, thank you for the, we got any correspondence?
None today.
Now this portion of the
I think you have to
meeting,
take a vote. I think you have to take a vote on the minutes.
thank you very much, yes. Let me go back to that, I apologize, thank you. My first time running this meeting, so we got a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
This is Travis. I'm abstaining. I wasn't at the last meeting.
Thank you, Travis. Okay. Minutes were approved.
I'm going to, for our new commissioners that just started, I'm going to put you guys as to abstaining since this is your first meeting, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. All right, so this portion of the meeting is open for public comments. So at this time, do we have any public present with any open comments?
Yes, Jeff, I think it's your turn, Jeff.
Johnny, we're on the agenda, so this is not.
Oh, okay. My bad.
No problem. Okay, thank you. Since there's no public comments, we're just going to keep moving on. City manager's comments.
None today.
All right. All right, any staff updates?
Stacy, do you want to go first? I think she's on.
Sure, I'm here. The bulk of the staff updates we have, tree trimming has begun, started on North Palm Canyon. This will be the annual trimming. We will go from North Palm Canyon down along Palm Canyon, Indian, all through the corridor, main arteries, and then we'll start trimming the parks, and after that, the residential streets. And the one big piece of good information we have tonight is that we will be requesting for council the amendments to restore all 4 landscape contracts to the full 100%, which means all services will be restored to the pre-COVID schedules and frequency of schedules. And that's really the big ones we have right now.
Good.
I have a comment.
You're lagging out, Johnny.
Oh, okay. Stacy,
Johnny.
is it, so is it good to say that the fields, everything's going to be, instead of every 2 weeks, it's going to be once a week?
I'd have to confirm the frequency schedule, but I think that's what it is, yes.
Okay.
And all the overseeding, all of that's going to be added in, rolled in, the tree spraying, everything.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Stacy.
You're welcome.
All right. For
Thank you, Stacy.
You're welcome, Johnny.
Right.
For my updates, I have our 4 kids only after school program here at the Leisure Center will start on August 9th. We will be picking up from Rio Vista, Cielo Vista, Catherine Finchy, and Raymond Cree. Pee Wee Rec will be starting on August 9th as well. It will go from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. High school water polo will be starting soon as well when school gets in session next week. We are continuing to reinstate programs in our different facilities, like the boxing program is back, table tennis is back, the Derby girls are back. Karate and Aikido will be back, both either, one will be back this month and the other will be back the following month. We're looking at becoming a host home for an adult and youth orchestra here at the Leisure Center on Thursdays. JOJ will be partnering with some organizations to bring different opportunities to our young adults. They'll be working closely with the YEP program and then also doing some other stuff with the rest of our kids during the week. The early childhood literacy program, Jarvis is working on getting that on track for September so that we can open that back up to our little people so we can get them enrolled. And then our 4th of July events went really well. I want to say thank you to the commissioners who were able to come out and help and those who were in attendance. And this is the last week of camp for all 3 camps. It was really awesome to have them back and watch them come visit to see the pool or swim, participate in activities together. And we are down to our final countdown with them. Just wanted to share some quick flyers with you, and I will send these out. Let me share. So here are the FKO program, after school program, where the kids get picked up from these schools. And then our Pee Wee Rec program. We'll be doing backpack giveaways at both James O'Jessy and the Demuth Community Center. James O'Jessy's will be this Thursday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Demuth's will be on August 6th. I will send out those flyers as well. Obviously, if you're interested in making any donations or helping us secure donations, the more the better. We don't want to turn away any kids who are in need of supplies. And then July was an exciting month. We started Village Fest back up. The department was given a proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month. So there's a quick picture that I borrowed from the City of Palm Springs social media account. And that's what I have as far as updates for you.
Cynthia, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a wish list? Do you have like a list of items that you need for the backpack giveaway? Or would you just prefer like a donation and you guys get the items? How can we help out?
The item that's probably the most difficult for us to come by are the backpacks. So backpacks would be amazing, but we'll take whatever we can get our hands on to get it out to the community and the kids so that they have something.
Is there a drop-off location that we can have people bring items to?
Yeah, you can drop off at either one of those locations, or you can bring it to the leisure center and we'll disperse it.
Thank you.
All right, great job as always, Cynthia. Seriously, your guys' staff just rocks it. Is there any other staff updates right now?
I think that is just it for me and Stacy, and then Dawn has an item for project updates on agenda item number 2.
Okay. So let's go to discussion and action items. So let's go to our agenda. Number 1 is commissioner introductions. So let me start with myself. I am the commission chair. My name is Jerry Alcorn. Nice to meet you, everybody. I've been with the commission now a little over a year. So if you guys want to go around and introduce yourselves, we'll start at the top.
I'll go. Johnny Coldonado, vice chair. Been on the commission now, I think it's 4 or 5 years, maybe. It's good to see everybody. Welcome new faces. And if we can help in any way, just reach out via phone call, text, emails, whatever you need for the new commissioners, especially. Thank you.
Jerry, I'll go next.
Sure, please.
Okay, so hey everyone, my name is Ellen Goodman, and I originally joined the commission as the school district liaison. And so I continue to, I guess, sit in that role via the superintendent and the city council. And then Jody Diaz joined us. And so now there's 2 of us from our school district. And I think one of the reasons I was interested in Parks and Recs is outdoor open space, the programs and the recreations for all of our community members, young and mid and senior. And I tend to, I really look for ways to bring our community together and to elevate our experience of living here in Palm Springs. And one way to do that is through Parks and Recreation versus some of the other commissions. And also in my role at my job, I'm really not able to sit on nonprofit boards. And so for me, this was my community service in a way that I could give back to my community. And it's very, very, very fulfilling. And I want to welcome everybody who's on the call today. Thank you. Thanks, Jerry.
Awesome. Great job. Alan, would you like to go, sir?
Hi, I'm Alan Boley. I know most of you on here. I think there's one new face since I left. This is my 6th year on the commission. The last 2 years I've been chair. I finally got to retire and start to enjoy it and watch Jerry run this now for a while, and he's going to be doing a good job along with Johnny, who helped me the last couple of years. Ones that I do know on here, new people, if there's anything you need, reach out. We do have a thing. We're not supposed to be communicating directly and more than a quorum. But if you have a question or something I can help you with, I'm always happy to help.
Thank you, Alan. I'm going to go around on my screen. So I see Jeff here. If you'd like to introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Jeff Juraski. I'm part of the AIDS Memorial Task Force. This is Todd Houston next to me. So we're coming up on our agenda item here coming up soon.
Thank you, gentlemen. Dan Spencer, would you like to?
I'm also with the AIDS Memorial Task Force, so I'll be talking to you in a little bit.
Pleasure to have you, sir. Susan.
Hey everyone, my name is Susie Meyer. It has my maiden name on here because I was on a work call before this. My wife and I moved to town a few years ago, and when I was in school, I focused on land use projects. So I've really been looking for a way to give back to the local community. I'm a lawyer by profession, so I do sort of the back end stuff with a lot of land use things. So I'm hoping that I can be a resource to you guys. And I'm just really excited to be involved in the projects that you have going on. So thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Christopher.
Hi, my name is Christopher Stahlmann, or Chris is fine. I am a longtime resident of Palm Springs. Been working on events here in the community at the convention center or the Air Museum or with the Animation Festival, things that I do here that are pop culture related in the entertainment field. So I thought I would be able to work with the Parks and Recreation in the city and much more of a kind of on a personal level to be able to help in whatever way I can to facilitate more in the direction of what we need to do for our community with regards to Parks and Recreation. So I joined and I was glad to be accepted. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Haley.
Hi, my name's Haley Preston. Are you introducing us on the agenda item now or just introductions?
Introduction, just new. I don't know if you're a new chair. We have some new people that come on, so I'm just going through all my screen and just trying to.
Yeah, I'm Haley Preston. We're presenting tonight on our Desert Community Compost project.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sorry about that. Next looks like Janet.
Hi everyone, same. I'm with Haley. We're presenting tonight.
Awesome. All right, John then.
Hey everyone, my name is John Moralia. I joined the commission about 4 months ago, so I'm pretty new as well. I am on the Dog Park Subcommittee and the Public Arts Subcommittee. My reason for wanting to be on the Parks and Recs Commission is, I don't want to say purely selfish, but it's somewhat selfish. I use most of our parks and recreation facilities, other than the skateboard. I'm too old for that now. But that is why I wanted to join, because I'm out there all the time using these facilities. So I'm interested in making sure that everyone can use them. So welcome to the new people.
Our pleasure to have you. Mike, are you a part of commission or are you one of the other boards joining on?
I'm part of the Palm Springs AIDS Memorial along with Jeff, Todd, and Dan that introduced themselves earlier. Thank you.
Welcome to have you, sir. Mr. Smith, Philip.
I am also with the Palm Springs AIDS Memorial. I'm the artist that has created the sculpture.
Awesome. Miss Diaz.
Hey, good to see you, Philip.
Johnny, you need some more talk time?
No, I just wanted to say hi to Philip. He's an old friend and it's good to see him.
I'm playing with you. You're welcome.
Johnny.
Is it my turn, Mr. Alcorn, Commissioner Alcorn?
Come on. Yes.
So I'm Jody Diaz. I don't know, I heard Ellen mention my name, so she probably said how long we've been on this commission. I've been an educator with Palm Springs Unified School District for 29 years. I've raised both of my kids. The last one just graduated this June. So we lived our lives in parks and recreation systems since they were 3, 4. So just wanting to see what's best for kids and families. I feel as though sometimes our city's recently making decisions that are going the other way. So I want to continue to push for that. I use the parks and recreation system myself. And I even take one of the dance classes down at one of the centers as well. And I just want to see it continue to be better and offer more as much as we can do for the community at large. All ages, sizes, et cetera. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Finland.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon to everyone. This is my first meeting. I'm a newly minted commissioner. I'm originally from New York, and I've been living in the Palm Springs area for the past 4.5 years. All of my life I've been very big on volunteerism, and I just felt that this would be an excellent avenue for me to become involved in, to become affiliated with. And I'm very excited about this endeavor and to working with this group. And I just want to thank you all for having me.
Welcome, welcome. Mr. Crawford.
Dieter Crawford, been on the Parks and Recs Commission for about a little over a year now. I was born and raised here in the city of Palm Springs. My family came to this city in the early 1950s. Live here in the Desert Highland Gateway Estates neighborhood with my girlfriend and my 3-year-old son. I'm a product of the Palm Springs Department of Parks and Recs. Of course, here at Desert Highland, but I played Little League at Demuth, used all the other parks as well. So I just want to give back and make a difference in a community that gave so much to me. My background is in public health and community health. I work as a clinical community health worker, been working in the healthcare field for a little over 5 years now.
Right on. Thank you, sir. Prima.
Hello, everyone. My name is Prema, and I just moved to Palm Springs last year. I got married, so I moved down here, and I found Haley Preston. She started desert composting and everything, and I'm with them today. Thank you.
Awesome. Michael Rendu.
Good afternoon. Mike Riando here. I'm with Haley Preston, supporting the composting opportunity in Palm Springs. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Do we have any other commissioner spots? I see a few names on the bottom.
Oh, Travis is on the line.
Yeah, this is, hi everyone, Travis Armstrong. I got involved in Parks and Recreation 2010, I think. This is the state of our dog park. I think I've attended almost all the meetings, Park and Recreation Commission since that time, even back when we were meeting in the leisure center with no TV or anything like that in the little room. It's like my 9th year, I think, on different city commissions. And see what else. My day job, I work for CAL FIRE. I'm the associate archaeologist for Southern California for CAL FIRE. And welcome everybody.
Thank you, sir. All right, now that we've done commissioner introductions, project updates.
Can we back up to the rest of that item? Johnny's gonna go over roles and responsibilities really quick.
Yes.
He did a great job the last time, so I voluntold him.
Well, I don't have a lot of my notes, so, but just the job of the commissioner is number one, get involved with the community. It's like see a need, fill a need, right? So I think, you know, showing up to the meetings, Zoom is a very interesting tool we've all been using now, and I'm very much looking forward to the meetings that we can all get together. Other roles, you know, we'll have committees for everyone to get involved with. Subcommittees are really important because it allows us to get into the community and also put our minds together and see what the community needs. What other needs? If anybody wants to jump in, they can. No, I did much better last time. But yeah, just show up to the meetings, you know, and get that feel in your heart, and then share it to us. You know, let us know what's on your mind, and just be a part of the community. Parks and Rec's a lot of fun. It's a slow process sometimes, so be patient. Be patient. That's about it for right now. I'll do a better job.
Johnny, can I?
Yes.
Johnny, you did a great job. Can I add something?
Please do.
That was great. I don't know, maybe you said this and I wasn't paying attention, but I think it's important for everyone on the commission to, one, be reminded, and for new folks to remember that we feed the city, you know, Cynthia and her team, we feed information to city council. We really are a body of individuals who make suggestions. We might try to lobby for things to go a certain way, but the truth is we really just make suggestions, and the decision making is really up to the city council. And that's when Johnny said, you know, things can take a long time. So knowing that as we come together as a group and we make suggestions, if we just remember that that's what we are, is a suggestion body, then I think the experience gets elevated as commissioners. Back to you, Johnny.
No, thank you, Ellen. Well said.
Very much so. All right. Now that we got the roles, responsibilities, let's move on to
Jerry.
Yes, ma'am.
Jerry, I'm sorry. One more thing. I did notice somebody had responded. They did a reply all to the emails. Alan said this a little earlier. We follow the Brown Act, and so some of the roles and responsibilities, we try to be really mindful not to do reply alls in emails. And we have to make sure that if we're having committee meetings or adjunct meetings, you know, that we maintain a number of people that's not in violation of Brown Act. And I believe that the city does have an overview orientation and a welcome for commissioners that outlines that. And Cynthia, if I left something out, you might be able to add something there.
No, I think that between you and Johnny, you guys summed it up really well. I know the new commissioners got to meet with Anthony today and they were sworn in, so hopefully they got their nice packet. But if not, we'll definitely make sure that you get all of the information that you need so that we are not in any kind of violation and we can keep our business moving forward.
All right. Thank you, both you two, very, very much so. So now let's go on to verbal report.
All right, Dawn is going to be here to give project updates.
Hello, commissioners. So here's my quick update for you. We had some priority projects that the Parks and Rec Commission sent to City Council. They picked 7 of those projects, and the 4 remaining, I'm going to give you an update. So Pavilion windows for acoustics and shade. Just a reminder, we split that project up, so facilities will be handling facilities handling the windows and the curtains, the blinds or curtains for the windows, and then engineering is handling the audio equipment, to improve the sound system in there. We are still waiting for the contractor to provide our procurement division with the revised purchasing agreement. So once we get that from them in a manner that procurement will be okay with, we can move forward and procure the audio stuff. Regards to shade structures at the various parks, many of you probably already saw the metal structures have already been installed, and now we're just waiting for the fabric to be delivered on site. Once it's delivered, it should be a pretty easy installation of the fabric onto those shade structures. So it should be done fairly soon. Regarding the playground surfacing, we are going to be working at the playground at Demuth Park and the playground at Desert Highland Park. So right now the contract was just awarded by City Council last Thursday. So we are waiting for those documents to be signed. Let's see. No, that was actually approved July 8th, but we are still waiting for all the contracts to be signed. And then the last project that was a priority to this commission was the Ballfield lighting project. Our design consultants are still working on it. They're doing pole evaluations as well as inspecting the cell tower equipment that were attached to some of the poles, especially in the vicinity of the stadium. So they are still moving along and they are on time with that project. Some of the other park projects that our staff is working on is the Sunrise Park restrooms. If any of you walk by, you probably noticed that the contractor has made a significant progress on the restrooms. So we're hoping to get those back online fairly soon. The Demuth Park and Desert Highland Park restrooms, bids were just opened and project was awarded by City Council on Thursday. So we're just starting with the construction process for those two parks. And then just a reminder, Demuth Park will be removing the existing restrooms and building a new structure. And then Desert Highland Park restrooms are going to be brand new restrooms. Regarding the Demuth Community Center, we have a project to replace the HVAC. Plans are now complete and we are going to go out to bid in September. So that will bring much needed AC to the community center. And then the final project I have for you is the downtown park. I think Cynthia is showing some of the photos that were taken today. As you can see, the stage is almost complete. Those blocks that you see, those are the seat walls that we're waiting for a long time. Now that the seat walls are here, we can have those installed. Those were kind of delayed based off of COVID material availability. But once those seat walls are in place, then we can put the landscaping behind it and then proceed much faster. The contractor is behind his schedule. Just a matter of materials not being available. So they continue on, but these photos were taken today. So thank you. Do you have any questions?
It's a great update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
I've got a question. Not sure if this is for Don or for Cynthia, but I noticed on the Desert Highland restroom, when it was on the city council agenda, they had the wrong location. And Cynthia, I
did reach out. I reached out to Cynthia about that, Dieter. I don't know if she ever got a chance to find out.
I didn't get a chance to connect with Mike Lightar. I got wrapped up in some fires that I had to put out here internally. Don, is it the proposal that was approved, if the location wasn't the correct one that the group had decided on originally, is that going to impact the project?
We'll look into it.
Because I want to say when Mike was originally working on the project and getting things prepared, I want to say he didn't think it was going to impact it.
Yeah, Mike isn't here on Mondays. He works Tuesdays to Fridays. So I can check in with him tomorrow on that. I wasn't aware that it was a different location, but yeah, I'll follow up.
When I was there last time, trees had been planted in the location that Jody and Peter and Cynthia and I had selected. So I was kind of wondering what was happening because there was 4 trees in that area now. Shows a good investment of our money when we're going to put a bathroom where the trees are planted now.
That would have been probably our fault. If I was, the tree planting would be my team. So if there's some design change that we need to do, then we can do that hopefully quickly before the trees take roots. I think I met with Mike originally when we were first working on this, and it was showing him the location of the existing sewer, water, and power. And I think that was probably what was dictating some of the original plan.
Yeah, we'll connect with Mike tomorrow and just verify that that's not going to be an issue.
Get back and look into that.
Thank
All
you.
right. Any other staff updates for projects? Thank you, Don. Thank you for bringing that up too, Alan. COVID-19 updates.
For COVID-19 updates, we are still requiring patrons to wear face coverings when they are in our recreation facilities. Obviously, when you're outside, they're not required. We are trying to bring back the programming that has been not happening because of the pandemic, and we're slowly bringing everything back. So in the next month or two, I expect to have many more classes reinstated. People are trying to, finish up their vacations and get their families back in school. So I mentioned several of the classes that'll be returning in the next month or so, and some new programming that we'll be putting into place. So we are moving right along, obviously keeping a tight, close eye on what the state and the counties are doing to make sure we're consistent, but we are definitely trying to do our part to keep our community safe so we can keep our programs open and our facilities open so that we don't have to take some steps back. So those are my updates.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Now that we got our COVID, let's go to discussion on DAP Art Memorial placement at the downtown park project. So we have some people here going to be presenting.
Yes. Who is going to be presenting on behalf of Palm Springs AIDS Memorial?
I will be doing that.
Do you want me to screen share with you, or?
I'll do an introduction, and then Philip will be taking over at that point. So I can just do a little bit of background for everyone first, and then we can move on to the imagery. My name is Dan Spencer, and I'm an architect, but I spend about a third of my time doing nonprofit work or community work. And in 2012, I was chair of the Architecture and Design Council, and I presented a lecture at the museum regarding, on World AIDS Day, regarding memorials. And I referenced a project that I did back in the 90s, the Key West AIDS Memorial. And so at the end of the presentation, I proposed that Palm Springs needed to create a memorial to remember, educate, and connect the community so that those that we've lost to AIDS will be forever immortalized. And out of that presentation, Todd and Jeff and I started noodling about how to move forward in the community. So this was a long time ago, and more recent history is at the end of 2019, we had our first presentation to the Arts Commission. and we presented our concepts, and but it really was a challenge to try to find a location. And then, of course, we ended up having our time of COVID, but in some ways that assisted us. Mike Ritchie moved to Palm Springs, and he's on the National AIDS Task Force, National AIDS Memorial. And so he moved and joined our task force, and we followed that effort by meeting with Jeff Coors and other city council members, David Reddy, and Sheffer, a lot of different community members, and we had a really supportive response for our work. The next step in early 2020 was to try to get it on the agenda, but it never happened. And so then last summer, when the downtown park got the green light, we really kind of moved into another mode. And I called Philip Smith and said, would you help us out? And so he has volunteered his design work for us. And last month we presented to the Arts Commission again, and they approved to receive the piece of art that we're proposing and support the move to put it in the downtown park as part of the Oasis Park downtown. So our request from the Parks Commission, Parks and Rec Commission, is that you support the placement of the AIDS Memorial sculpture in the downtown park as a beautiful and meaningful memorial that will elevate the park as it already is, just turning out really beautiful. So with that little brief background on all the things we've been doing over the last 8 years, Philip's going to show you what we're proposing.
Thanks, Dan. Cynthia, do you want me to share my screen? I have the PDF, or do you want to bring it up and I'll just say next page?
I'll let you, I'll make you co-host so that you can screen share.
Okay.
There you go.
We'll see if I get this on the first shot this time.
If not, I'll screen share for you. You'll just need to tell me when to go to the next slide.
Okay. Looks like we got it here. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, great. Just for background, my name is Philip Smith. I'm an artist. My studio is based here locally in Palm Desert. I grew up in the desert from 1980 onward with an 11-year stint on the East Coast, but have been here back in the desert since late 2000. And I've been involved with a lot of different public art projects all over the country, as well as local projects. Like I was part of the first Desert X in 2017, and I'm currently working on a number of public art projects from Bellevue, Washington to Newark, New Jersey to West Hollywood, California. It's really an honor for me to be working on this project, something that would really be my first project potentially in Palm Springs. I'll also say that the West Hollywood project that I'm working on, I'm actually in the midst of installing right now, is a park that is also was designed by Rios Clemente Hale, now just Rios, who also obviously designed the downtown Palm Springs park. So I'm familiar with their craft and good design and good ideas, and really excited just personally that that park is happening. So thank you for making that happen. What I'm going to do is just kind of go through these few pages and talk a bit about the location, and then talk briefly about the memorial and the design itself, so you sort of know where our heads are at and sort of conceptually what this thing looks like and the meaning behind it. So I'm going to start first with the location, which was really our priority for the evening. As Dan said, we sort of got let's say the approval of the artwork aesthetics from the Public Art Commission. And what I wanted to do when we were looking at a site was to talk directly with Rios. We at the task force did not design this park, and we wanted to make sure that the placement of this was possible, and that B, that there was a sensible location. And so I called up Nate Cormier, and myself and a few of the task force members met with Nate as well as Jason Shinoda from Rios about 2.5 weeks ago. And they were aware of the design and showed up at the site suggesting 3 or 4 different locations. After walking the site, we all decided, we all had the exact same thought that where the X marks the spot here in this PDF is where we believe the best location is. I will say I believe it's the best location for a number of reasons. One is that we realize this is coming in a bit late in the game. This is something that is not part of the initial design. So we wanted to make sure that the placement of this, the sculpture, this memorial was not going to be interrupting any of the already designed functionality of the park, any of the programming that's been designed in from the very beginning. This site provides sort of a very kind of simple, intimate location. There's 2 mesquite trees on each side, and that's a DG surface. And so the sculpture can sit within that DG area, providing enough room for people to walk around it. If there happen to be a larger gathering for a particular event, people can begin to fill in around the sidewalks on the edge. I'm a light-based artist, and so light is very important to me. The fact that this piece is sort of out and actually away from the oasis a bit really works well, because sunlight can really hit this piece. As you'll see in the design, there is a hole, an oculus in the center of it. As you look at it to the north, it will frame the waterfall in the water area, and looking to the south, it will frame the palm trees of the oasis. So it really works out well. And when those mesquite trees go up and around, the dappled light on the artwork will be even better than day one. So I'm going to get into what this memorial, what this sculpture is. I'm going to say too, when Dan and the task force first approached me with this idea, I sort of sat on it for a little while, because I wasn't sure. It was a large task to accomplish, and I wanted to make sure that A, I was the right person, and B, that I could put a solid idea forward. And so about 1.5 months after being asked, I came into the studio one morning and saw it, as it happens from time to time, somewhat rarely. And I drew this sketch. This is a 9-foot diameter, so 9 foot wide by 9 foot tall by about 3 foot deep stone sculpture. And that is an oculus in the center. And really my intent with the scale of this work is to make it more of the pedestrian, more human scale. So it's something that is approachable. It's meant to be a tactile work. That's why it is stone. I want people to touch the art. That's the beauty of public art. It's out there in the world 24/7 and accessible at all times. Within this stone, the circular stone work, I really wanted to have a kind of sidedness to it, that there was one side that was really sort of geared towards the community, that was almost sort of like wrapping around you, almost like outstretched arms. And on the other side was a bit more of a personal, more individual side, where the piece was actually pushing towards you, sort of trying to engage in that way. But then there was this oculus in between, this connective tissue visually and tactilely that connects these two sides. So to look at a few elevations, this is what I refer to as the community side. These concentric rings really is a textured, shadowed, carved surface that is really about representing humanity and the diversity of people that are on this planet, and that the fact that all of us have been affected in some way by the AIDS epidemic. And so that line work, that pinwheel of line work, are actually grooves that are cut, like an aberration in this pure surface, this pure quilt work of humanity. And as I say, that sort of 1 foot 7 inch, 19-20 inch oculus looking through, in this case, would be looking towards the waterfall.
Philip, can I interrupt you for 1 second? It's
of course.
As one of the commissioners. Listen, Oculus to me means eyes, something to do with your eyes. So you just mean like that's a hole you can look through, or what are you, you're a fancy way of saying what?
It's a fancy way of saying there's a hole in the piece.
Oh, I was right. Okay.
Yes, so
Awesome.
that is, you can push your hand through it.
Thanks. I was
Okay.
like thinking maybe there was something I was missing, some virtual thing. Okay.
No. This is all analog, shall we say.
I promise I'm educated, but I didn't know what you
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's a good question. The thing too to note here is how this piece is sitting on the ground. Well, I want it to just touch the ground. So it actually, this immense stone, heavy stone piece has a kind of lightness to it because it is almost sort of hovering off of the ground. So it's just touches. The reality is that there's a structural post getting down to a footing that's surrounded by DG that hides all of that. But I wanted to have this kind of sensitive light touch on the ground. On the more individual side, let's say, these lines here represent topography. There is this kind of wave form on the backside, almost, let's say, like the hours, like the lines on a clock, the petals of a flower. But it's really, this side is really about the sense of hope, the reality of grief, the reality that time heals. And again, the fact that this piece kind of pushes out towards at the center, so that again, just by the act of running your hand across the work, but there may be a sense of engagement, a sense of healing in that very real touch. Just a kind of quick detail beginning to show this is, the intent right now is for this to be a limestone, a carved limestone work that will need to be cut in 3 sections that will then seamlessly be put together. But you can get a sense of the light and shadow and the play that's going to happen across the surface. We wanted, again, the stone for it to be, of the earth, for it to have the warmth that exists in the park within the natural colors and palette of the desert itself and that's being used in the park. And then additionally, we want there to be, this shift of light over the course of the day, but then there's also a nighttime experience. So there are a couple of up lights, in-ground lights that are shooting light up onto the work itself at night. So you're getting a kind of dramatic lighting at the evening. Those lights, those fixtures will be selected along with Rios so that there's continuity of aesthetics and also continuity of the coloration of the white light. So that everything is continuous throughout the park. Any questions for me that you may have?
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Sure.
Philip, good job. I've known Philip for quite some time, and he's done a lot of work for the projects at Coachella as well. This man is talented. So when he puts his hands on it, it's good stuff. So one question. So you said it's made out of limestone?
Yes.
And what's the thickness? I see that the height is 9 feet. Is that 1.7 wide?
Yeah, so this is a section cut right down the middle of it. So it's 9 feet high, and then it's about 3 foot to 3'6" wide from its outmost point to its outmost point. So you can see that hole in the center represented here, where the person is outstretching their arm and hand.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Philip.
I didn't know if there were any comments about this location in the park. Again, I kind of want to reiterate that there was a unanimous thought across the task force as well as the designers of the park that this was a location that felt correct, and it was, it just felt right. I'm not sure what else to say. But that we all sort of smiled and felt right when we talked about this location.
Anybody else have any feelings or thoughts on this they want to share or express?
This is Travis. I have a question.
Sure, Travis, please.
Sorry, I don't have video for the call, so if you showed this already, I apologize. Is the signage for this piece of art going to have like the name of it and the artist? Is it going to have any other information like promoting or referencing organizations, or what is the signage going to be like?
Sure. Yeah, and Dan, I may have you tackle this one. It's a great answer in my mind. Dan?
So historically, memorials have had a whole variety of things where you'd had names carved in stone. And for us, we came up with the notion that what we'll do is within a very discrete signage, we will have a QR code and a website, and you'll be able to scan in and access individual stories and link to the National AIDS Memorial. You'll be able to get access to educational information, healthcare information. You really will have a whole range of things that allow you to access in a very simple way. And we thought that it really keeps the focus on the piece of art, but does provide information that is readily available to everybody. So that's how we are going to be moving forward with that.
And I'll say too that's something that I've been asked to design several memorials in the past, and I think the challenge is always to ensure that this object, this sculpture, whatever it may be, is timeless, right? That it's not something that, oh, remember that thing from 50, 60, 70, 100 years ago, that doesn't feel like it applies today. I think really the advantage of sort of keeping all of the documentation, the names, the information, the literature, all of that can always be updating. I mean, really daily, if it wants to be. But that ultimately the object that is there is really touching on timeless themes that deal with hope, unity, and healing. So that maybe somebody that doesn't even recognize that this is actually the AIDS Memorial might actually find healing in the touch of the sculpture.
Yeah, this is a Travis again. I mean, I think the sculpture is a great idea, but I do think there's a bigger policy question of the city is going to turn over public spaces that's going to have access and entry points to private groups who may be advocacy groups, and what those websites say. I mean, it's a bigger policy question, I think, for the city, and other cities have gone through this as well. When you turn over that public space and then you're promoting a private group on it.
I've been waiting to jump in, so I've had my hand up for a while. I have been on the Downtown Park Subcommittee since 2018. Took care of all the plans of it. I don't know why this was never pulled together to our subcommittee to discuss it. No reflection on you, Philip, and designing it and everything. It seems like the Arts Commission always tries to railroad our Parks Commission to do what they have already decided to do. We designed this park with Rios, hours and hours and hours, and we had made a place over on the far right, back in that Fern Grove area, for Arts Commission piece of art. Now, Rios, they were the ones, the architect that put the things together, but we had a group of people from throughout the community that met and worked and designed and put this all together. And now it seems like, the Arts Commission decides this is what they want, and they go around and they've got it all done up and go to Rios and go around our group. And we have a lot of groups in this town that would love to have a piece of art in here. And I'm just a little bothered by taking the center section of our downtown masterpiece park. And I think there's other people that remember that we have dealt a lot of time designing the layout of this park. I just wanted to bring that up because I do have the plans here where it says Art Commission piece of art was to go over in that other side.
Thank you very much, Alan, for that info. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just kind of want to echo the same thing. Is this promoting an organization or sponsoring a certain group? As Alan said, I'm sure lots of organizations would like that spot there. But for me personally, I believe if it is going to go in, that, you know, there should be some type of educational component, not just a memorial. I actually, as a youth, learned sex education in the Palm Springs Parks and Recs department at James O. Jesse Desert Highland Unity Center. As I said, my background is in public health. So if I would like to see something around education about sexually transmitted diseases and things of that nature as well. But I just want to echo what Alan's saying. It seems like, you know, you guys are just going around the whole Parks and Recs Commission to just kind of decide what you guys want to throw in the park. We haven't really had a say, so really as a commission at all about the park. So but that's another story for a different time.
Thank you, my friend, for speaking up.
Jerry, can I go next?
Please.
Thank you. So I'd like to ask just a question, and I might be having problems with my camera because I only see myself on the board, on the Zoom board. So I apologize if I'm looking around, but I'm curious, has your group talked to anyone at the city council yet? So I have two questions, or a question and a comment, but have you talked to anyone on the city council?
Yes, and we have been talking to the city council in previous years even. So we have gone back and updated them based on this work, more recent work. And so we have had discussions and updated the city council members about this proposal.
Okay, great, thanks. So I just want to compliment, I think it's an absolutely beautiful piece of art, so good job. A couple of things come up for me, and I thank you, Alan, for sharing that the Arts Commission does have an allocated location. So they have a very specific location. I might make a recommendation that you go to the Arts Commission and have this be a part of their installation for the downtown park, if that's of interest, if that's where you'd like it. Then I remember a while back, the trans community came to the commission and asked about putting a memorial piece of art at Ruth Hardy Park. And they did not have the same representation that this project has. They didn't have the same strong lobbying arm that I think this group has. And at that time, the Parks and Recs Commission talked about the absence of a policy, very similar to naming parks or naming fields, that there really isn't a unified policy. And at that time, the Parks and Recs Commission declined to put, or to make the recommendation to put a memorial piece of art in the park for the trans community. I would feel a little uncomfortable saying no to trans community and yes to HIV/AIDS community. And so I might make a recommendation that we spend a little time really looking at policy and what would that blanket policy be, so that when people come to parks with a recommendation or a request, that everyone is treated equally. Back to you, Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other questions on this subject? Yes, sir.
Chair Alcorn, could I jump in here?
Please, Russell.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Russell Prichard, Vice Chair of the Arts Commission. So I wanted to say that when the committee brought this to our meeting in June, we were totally thrilled with it. From the Arts Commission perspective, we are looking at the art zone part of the park as what we will have sort of a somewhat jurisdiction over, and will introduce art projects for. But we saw the Philip K. Smith piece as an addition to the park itself and not necessarily something that we as the Arts Commission were trying to enforce upon anyone. We feel very honored that we have such a talented, globally renowned artist such as Philip Smith living in our community and able to do this piece for the park. So we unanimously support the project and would urge the Park and Rec send it to council for their approval as well. We think it would be a very good addition to the park. It's a spectacular piece. And then we will, as you pointed out, will address the part of the downtown park that is zoned for the art component.
Very much. So
I didn't understand that. I'm sorry. Russell, I didn't understand what you meant by that, the zoning part. Can you just say that a little differently?
Well, just the art park portion of the downtown park, which is where the car is currently installed from the museum, the Abrasia car stall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the area that's always been sort of designated as the art part of the downtown park.
Got it. So you could ideally put this piece where the car is. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, well, I was just saying that we have not fully determined, because of the park is not completed yet, what pieces we would look for the actual art park part of it. But when the committee brought this AIDS memorial to us, we thought it was as an additional component to the downtown park. And with the committee working with the park designers, coming up with an ideal location for it in the main component of the park, we were willing to vote unanimously to approve it and accept it as a piece of the Palm Springs Public Arts Collection.
And since you already have a designated space, why not there?
Can I just speak to that very briefly? I'm sorry, Russell, to cut you off. I'll just say that day that we went out with Rios to look at the site and see what was possible, see if there was even something available there. We did look at that portion, which I know on their drawings has always shown Maryland, which is a very different scale sculpture. I'll just say that the scale of that zone at the end is large and can handle an art installation that is much, much more significant than what we're proposing today.
The copy from Rio says Maryland or public arts piece.
Yep.
Russell, did you say that this has already gone to council to talk about this portion of location or of in the park? You're muted. Russell, you're on mute there.
There you go. No, we heard the presentation at our Arts Commission meeting in June, and we just voted to accept it as part of the Public Arts Collection and send it on to the council with our approval toward them to have, who of course have the final say in this.
So it's already been sent to the council and now coming to us again like everything else has been.
No, it's not gone to the council yet.
It's not gone to the council.
No. No, the group is going through all of the different entities involved, the Arts Commission, Park and Recs, and then once we all give it the blessing, then it goes to City Council.
So this is where we need to make a recommendation, make a vote to send this to council to see if they'll have a DAP memorial placement at the downtown park.
Well, what will happen is the commission will make a recommendation, whatever that is, and it'll go via community development staff report, where it will highlight what the Arts Commission recommendation is, and it'll highlight what this commission's recommendation is, and then council will decide how they want to handle it or move forward.
Okay, so at this time, the commission, do you guys want to vote?
Yeah, Jerry.
Vote to move this forward. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have to share that where I love the guys, I love everybody on the meeting, I love the piece of art. I would feel very, very, very bad if this got a recommendation from the Parks Commission and the trans community was declined previously. And I would really feel that an equity issue would come up. And so I might put forth a recommendation that the Parks and Recs Commission actually look at a blanket policy so that we have a level of fairness. That's my stand. I don't know how other commissioners feel. I'd like to hear from other commissioners.
Ellen, this is Jody. I am in complete agreement with you on that topic. We can't start picking one over the other, especially if somebody's already been denied an opportunity. And, there's policies and, Ellen already expressed and Dieter as well. I feel like, it's coming from around the corner and all of a sudden it's in front of us, but we haven't, had a chance to be presented with it beforehand. So I agree.
Was there a reason why the trans memorial was not accepted?
My memory tells me it was not accepted because we did not have a policy put in place, very similar to the way we had discussions around a naming. People wanted to name Ballfield, people wanted to name buildings, and so the commission spent time developing a naming policy. So they were declined because there was not a policy in place.
Okay,
and the dog park was named without our permission or consent as well.
Unmute, Dieter, we didn't hear you.
All right, so at this point, I'm just trying to keep the meeting moving forward. At this point, I'm looking for a recommendation here. What should we do? Should we put this on Ms. Diaz?
I think perhaps we do have a downtown park what do you call it? Ad hoc subcommittee. And perhaps they do a little bit more investigation and discussion and bring it to the rest of Parks and Recs Commission. It's my suggestion.
So I like that as well. So there was a lot of work that went into this downtown park, and a lot of us put a lot of work into it. So maybe we can do that. Let the ad hoc committee meet, talk about it, and we can bring this back up next month so we can keep moving this meeting forward.
I like that, Jerry, and I do think that it's worthy of that. I think other people, once they know that there's been a discussion, they might come forward with a piece of art that wants to go in the downtown park. Yeah. So I like that. I would second that if that's a motion.
So can I get a first on a motion for that?
Really made the first. Ellen was the second, I believe.
Okay. So we're going to take that to the ad hoc. Let the Downtown Parks Committee talk about this. We'll bring it up next month.
I believe we need to vote that.
If you're in favor of it, will you just click your little hand emoji so I can count?
Is there going to be any more discussion of this motion?
Sounds like if you'd like to have a discussion, go ahead, Travis.
I just want to make the point just for the record. I mean, I think one of the speakers at the beginning really hit the nail on the head of saying, how we ended up here is because people are having trouble finding places for art. And so then all of a sudden parks come up, and we've had over 2 years of these issues about being presented often very worthy projects and then having these concerns about placement or naming or whatever, and not being able to say no because here's a great project, right? And it's very difficult. And so my concern about the motion, why I'm going to support it, is that it doesn't solve the bigger issue of these art projects continuing to come. And then given the history and track record of the Public Arts Commission continuing to work with artists by not involving Parks Commission at the very, very beginning of this, this is going to keep continuing, and future commissioners are going to be in this exact same spot. That's it.
Excellent point.
So I think at the end of the day, what we all still need to realize is that both commissions are just advisory, right? So both commissions could make a recommendation and they can be aligned, but then at the end of the day, council can say, yeah, we want to go in that route. And that's, an unfortunate reality of all of this too. So I don't want us to get stuck on, if we're not aligned together, it's not going to happen, because that's not realistic for how council can do things, right? Like at the end of the day, they are the last say. So I just want to make sure that we're all being realistic about what could potentially happen.
Right. I had to follow up on that. Sorry to interrupt, but that's true. But that doesn't mean that we can't have our motion. And the problem with that statement, I believe, is that, when there's been discussion or votes that haven't been unanimous, the city staff does not inform the city council of that debate or discussion, and so they're not knowledgeable when they approve something that there was discussion at the Parks Commission level, because whoever is writing those staff reports is ignoring that.
Well, I intend on moving the motion forward however the commission puts it together, because that's my job here for you guys. But I'm not the staff reporter generator for this particular item. That could go to council, but I will make sure that your guys' stuff is represented either way.
We had it pulled up. We had a vote on it. We're going to move it forward to the next month.
Does that mean that we can have a chance to meet with the ad hoc committee at some point in the next few weeks?
Yeah, Jay and I will have to get together with whoever is the city liaison for that task force and let them know that the commission's recommendation is for this to be presented before the task force that helped with the design of the downtown park, and for the downtown park task force to come back with a recommendation saying that they're either good with it or not good with it, and then have that discussion with Parks and Rec Commission, and then we'll go from there.
Cynthia, I think our biggest point is we want to be fair with every group in the city is number one priority. We don't want others to say, wow, how come they got that and we couldn't get it? So we've got to be fair.
I'd just like to tell you that over the last X number of years, working through the city process and getting, asking people, well, how do we move this idea forward, has been like running in circles. So I appreciate, you helping with the process and working through the process. But it is one of those things, as you know, with the city, that it is a challenging web to work through. And so we're sorry that we didn't get to you sooner. This was the process that we were told, these are the steps you go through. And so it was just, that was what we were told. So I appreciate your input and your feedback. And I know that process is very important, and how you come up with your procedures moving forward is also really key for all the commissions. So we went through a similar conversation with the Arts Commission around what are the steps needed to be, go through in order to make it happen. So appreciate all your support and help, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Gary, do you want to call for a vote? I know we have the first and the second, and Travis wanted to.
Yes. Can we call for a vote for this to bring this back to the ad hoc committee, and we can discuss this? All in favor? Raise your hands. Aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, it looks like it did pass, move forward. All right, so let's keep this meeting moving on. Let's go to line item number 5, which is Desert Community Compost Project Proposal for Coyote Run Park Area.
Everyone, I'm Haley Preston. I just want to thank you guys. You are good at doing like marathon sprints in meetings. So I don't know about you, but I'm like, I got to get you jazzed on compost because I don't know if I can make it look pretty like Philip's work, or not pretty, but wonderful like Philip's work. But I can certainly change your minds about whatever you might be thinking compost is. So I'm going to have my colleague Janet share our slides.
Janet, I'm going to give you co-host so you can share from your screen.
Okay.
Okay.
So Cynthia asked us to come and share about our community composting initiative, and we prepared this slideshow for you. So in just 6 months, we have gone from a visionary conversation to a growing community of nearly 100 volunteers. And with me here tonight are several leaders in this movement, and I'd like to acknowledge them: Janet Cook and Mike Riando, Prima Bavaretti, Jax Patterson. So this go ahead, Janet.
Yeah. So this conversation actually began in a small group of UC Master Gardeners when we realized how much need there is for community composting. And so then we decided to apply for a grant. And we're proud to be recipients of a grant funded by CalRecycle and the California Alliance for Community Composting, which are supporting 117 site locations around the state for community composting and green spaces. And with this grant, we are proud to help hopefully put Palm Springs on the map.
So Palm Springs has always been seen as a cultural leader, and it's important to us that community composting be seen as Palm Springs doing what Palm Springs does best. So it's designing for a healthy, inclusive lifestyle. And for this reason, we wanted to engage our city's civic leaders. Our work as a coalition has led us to present to subcommittees of the Sustainability Commission and to speak with city council members, the mayor, and now the Parks and Rec Commission. So in preparing this presentation for you, I came across this 1869 quote from John Muir. "Everyone needs beauty as well as bread, places to play in and pray in, where nature may heal and cheer and give strength to body and soul alike." Both parks and recreation are important because we all know that being human is so much more than the 9 to 5. People have needs that go beyond basic survival. We need connection to nature, to places of joy, and activities that support our physical, mental, and social health. And none of these things are possible if we don't have a healthy physical environment. Today, this is more pressing than ever. Humans are experiencing unprecedented levels of loneliness, life-threatening disease, economic, and food insecurity. Providing parks and urban green spaces and associated programs where people learn about resource recovery and practice growing fresh fruit and vegetables is a simple and straightforward way to foster social cohesion, encourage people to stay in their community, and meet those needs. And simple and straightforward matters because needs are coming up in a bigger context, and that context is complicated. 2 years ago, you wouldn't have found the word pandemic outside of a high school vocabulary list. And now that it's killed millions of people, we're talking about disease in a different way. The same is true for heat domes and other extreme weather events caused by climate change. Community composting is another term that we hear more often, especially since it's on California's radar and expected to become a law next year. We live in a politically challenging time. Not everyone sees the world the same way, but people don't have to vote alike to get overheated, starved, or dead. And this is where we can make a positive difference. We don't have to debate about climate change or make big capital investments to reduce our carbon emissions or to reduce our waste, provide access to green spaces, or create healthy soil and nutritious foods. We just need to start composting. So desert compost will serve as a catalyst for social change and climate resilience through regenerative, replicable, closed-loop food systems, soil restoration, and resource stewardship. Our practices will foster the inclusion, education, and civic engagement that makes for strong communities. Together, we will heal the planet.
Our community compost project meets all these needs, and community composting is transparent. Most of us don't know what happens to our recycling once it leaves our bins on trucks, and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But we do know what happens when our kitchen scraps, yard clippings, and green material go to industrial facilities. They emit greenhouse gases, billions of tons of greenhouse gases per year. And this compostable material builds up in the landfills and it doesn't break down properly. The food scraps don't decompose in the low light, low oxygen conditions of the landfill because they need air. and a balanced chemistry to do so. So what do we do about all the carbon? We're standing on the answer. The soil feeds on carbon just like plants feed on carbon. So carbon can actually compost can actually sequester carbon from the atmosphere. And that means the compost draws carbon out of the air and puts it to work in the ground. So we don't need fancy technology. We have everything we need to capture carbon and restore it into our soil through composting. And composting is the beginning and the end of the food system. So soil is created from compost, and then food is created from the soil. This is a key point because the world has lost about 60% of its topsoil. And this is not looking good. So anyone who's spent more than a weekend in the Coachella Valley knows how fast the wind can take the topsoil away. And composting can really help with that. And applying compost reduces soil loss by over 86%. But wait, there's more. More, you say? No, there can't be, but yes, there is. Community composting also provides real-time benefits to city government.
Wouldn't it be great if the Parks and Rec Department had a free and easy way to conserve water and spend less money on commercial fertilizer? Adding compost to the soil helps to save water by increasing water absorption and reducing water runoff and evaporation. Increasing soil's organic material by 5%, only 5%, quadruples the soil's capacity to hold water and reduces periods of water stress during droughts such as the one we're in right now. Soil amended with compost requires less irrigation, and we all know how important that is in the desert. Compost reduces our exposure to toxic chemicals. When we close the food loop and recycle our organic material back into the soil, we don't need chemical fertilizers. This is important. Chemical fertilizers deplete the soil. They wash into our waterways and they contaminate the water, they kill fish, and they make people sick. Chemical fertilizers also produce gases like nitrous oxide. And when it comes to greenhouse gases, nitrous oxide makes carbon emissions look innocent. Nitrous oxide traps 265 times more heat in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide. And I think we can agree we've got all the heat we need.
So to determine where and how we can initiate community composting most effectively, our coalition has formed relationships built on successful models to tailor our community composting site to the unique needs of the Coachella Valley. So our grant also gives us the funding we need to get started, and our relationships with other community composting organizations throughout the state gives us the infrastructure and support we need to get it right the first time and make our city look good. So in June, members of our coalition attended a 5-day on-site soil stewardship training, and we met people from all over the state and sister communities who are successfully running community composting projects in San Diego, South Central LA, Central Valley, Sacramento, Long Beach, and Pomona, to name a few. We learned really valuable information on soil health, decomposition ecology, compost ecology, how to successfully process compost, to participate in discussions regarding fostering community engagement and well-being. We talked about principles of ecological garden design, compost site design, contaminants, bioplastics, how to use compost, and how to assess compost quality and soil health. The training also included site visits to various community composting sites in LA and the Inland Empire to really witness firsthand how numerous communities have successfully designed, developed, and supported their own community-led gardens and compost. The following are some really awesome examples of community gardening and composting. Three Sisters Gardens in Sacramento, Buena Vista Gardens in Pomona, and then LA Compost. LA Compost actually began in 2013 with the collective efforts of volunteers, friends, family. They wanted to see how far their organic material was traveling and the harmful effects it had on the environment. So they initially started off as a collection crew, riding bikes with trailers that allow them to haul food scraps, leaves, paper, and other more organic material from restaurants, homes, schools, and local compost centers. While this worked in other cities, for LA it was like too big and it made it unsustainable. So in 2014 they actually switched their model to a more decentralized community compost hubs. that are cared for and maintained and enjoyed by community members. So the compost hubs are built in places where people coexist, faith centers, schools, gardens, workplaces, and each hub really reflects the community in which it's located, but they all serve the same purpose. They compost organics locally while creating shared spaces for people to connect with each other in the natural world.
All right, guys, thanks for hanging in there with us. We're getting to the punchline. So the Desert Community Compost Coalition wants to model building healthier community and neighborhood by creating a flagship community green space, gardens, education center, and compost yard on the north end of town. Our site will provide Palm Springs residents with a community composting service and serve as an educational model of a closed loop food system via our on-site gardens. We will increase the community's access to fresh food and provide high quality compost for use in public parks, green spaces, and gardens. Revenue will support our educational programs to the public on climate repair, waste reduction, regenerative gardening, and composting. Our site will be an inclusive place for people in the community to gather of all ages, and it will be comfortable and welcoming where people can learn and participate. So to do all of this and help our city meet the requirements of the state bills 1383 and 1826 that target a 75% reduction in landfilled compostable material and a massive reduction in short-lived greenhouse gas emissions, we need the support of the Parks and Rec Commission. The city has a vacant lot at 3401 North Sunrise Way, adjacent to the Coyote Run 2 apartments. We have nearly 100 coalition members from all throughout this valley ready to get started. We have the support of the UCCE Master Gardeners and the support of the California Alliance for Community Composting in partnership with Cal Recycle. Now we're asking for yours. With the approximate space at this location, we will have the ability to process 2,000 pounds of food scrap material and 5,000 pounds of organic material total per week, which means we'll be sequestering tons of greenhouse gas. Our project will help the state reach its goals in diverting 27 million tons of food scraps from being landfilled each year. So in closing, I'm proud of my city. Palm Springs leaders have made it clear that they are committed to making Palm Springs the first city in the desert to offer a community composting option. When our coalition met with Stacy Schaefer in June, she helped us understand more about the process and the next steps. Stacy identified the need for a utility survey at the site. And we also discussed creating an operating contract between our community compost organization and the city so that the city owns the composting site, but we staff and manage it. In the meantime, we're counting on the green light from the Parks and Rec Commission on this space so that we can provide a completed proposal that includes logistics and a budget and a plan and create immediate benefits and programs for the public at the Coyote Run site. To meet the community's immediate need and begin processing compost, we're asking for your approval to open the site at Coyote Run and provide access to water. To achieve the community's longer term needs and create a model closed loop food system with a community garden and education center, we're asking you to continue the conversation with us in September when we expect to have the information we need to complete our proposal. So thank you for joining us in determining the best way to collect organic material and convert it for the benefit of our community and our planet. I know this has been a lot of information, but thank you for your time and your attention, and I'm happy to take questions if you have any.
Great proposal. So I have a few quick questions for you. This is just from me, and I want to ask you a few. So how many of you on this project live in the area, actually around Coyote Run?
So I live there, and are you asking how many members of our coalition live near Coyote Run?
Yeah.
There are a handful, but we have people from all over the desert. So we have two Palm Desert folks represented tonight. We have a longtime Palm Springs resident who now lives in Las Vegas, who feels passionate about this project. And we have our grant liaison from Cal Recycle and California Alliance for Green Spaces. And she's here, Eleanor Crescenzi.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that. The reason I ask is because there's a few things I'd like to see personally. Like we had our waste treatment plant that's placed in the South Palm Canyon area, or the South area, and it's built around a community. So now we didn't do any real forethought, and now a lot of the community members around that area smell it constantly, and they have to live with it.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm proposing is I would like to see anywhere from 4 or 5, maybe 6 community discussion groups brought up by you guys with our community, and have a member of staff, say Cynthia or Patrick from sustainability, somebody from staff for the city be there as well with the community and hear these questions, comments, concerns, and see what the community's general, gist is of it, and then move forward from there.
Certainly.
Before I would personally give it any blessing.
Sure.
I'd like to know what our whole community wants to know.
Well, absolutely. And so the coalition was founded with the intention of serving each individual need from wherever we put a hub. So I've been in touch with the Coyote Run apartment supervisors, and I'm in touch with Grace Garner. It's her district. So I absolutely want to make sure that we serve those neighborhoods and make sure that they have a voice in the conversation. Those are all scheduled. So I want you to know that those are on our minds.
Awesome. That's my biggest thing is, like I said, I want to see some community input, like some discussion sessions, meetings with people, and hear what the community says.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just so you know, hot composting doesn't emit aromas. So there's no smell, it doesn't look bad. That's why we threw in a couple pictures on the slideshow just to help you, demystify it a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. Well, see, I'll be at one of those meetings. That's the thing, is I'll be one of those community members being there, because I'd like to get educated as well. I don't want to sit here and make a misinformed decision on something I don't know anything about, honestly.
Great.
Anybody else have any questions, comments?
This is Travis. I have one. A question and then a comment depending on the answer. This whole idea seems to be really more in the jurisdiction of the Sustainability Commission in many ways, and sustainability has a very active waste reduction subcommittee. We worked with them to get recycling containers in the parks, and in fact, even though recycling money is down, last I knew there was a large amount of money in the recycling fund that the city had. So, I would really recommend that if you guys haven't talked to the Waste Reduction Committee, that's the appropriate place to go as well. Just from our last discussion, I don't want us to be accused of stepping on other commissions' toes either.
No, and you're right. So we've been at several of those meetings. We presented to the subcommittee on waste reduction, and Patrick's been working with us since our humble beginnings. So I believe he's here tonight. But the Sustainability Commission, they were our first gateway. And then they said, you really need to go talk to Parks and Rec. So here we are.
Makes sense.
Right, but have you actually presented to the Sustainability Commission?
We presented to the
actual commission.
Yes.
The reason I'm asking is my husband is on the commission, and he's shaking his head that he doesn't remember you ever talking to the full commission about this, and so I just think it's appropriate. So
let me clear that up just really quick. So we have not presented to the Sustainability Commission, but we have presented to the Subcommittee on Waste Reduction, which is the subcommittee of the Sustainability Commission. So they are technically reporting back to the commission to let them know what they've been learning from community composters. And we also have a liaison on the community or the Sustainability Commission as well. So hopefully those messages are getting through, but sometimes things get lost in translation.
Diaz.
Hi, just wondering, from the pictures there, is that the proposed lot for that at the very end of Sunrise, right at where we were going to put a park in? I'm confused because I live right here, and one concern, like Jerry, was about what all's gonna.
I'll show you a screenshot so that you can see where they're talking about. Can you see that?
Nope.
Nope.
Yep. No, I
Okay,
can.
so where the X is, it's on the inside area of the Coyote Run apartments. It's slated to be, park space. They haven't developed that land into anything just yet. So the ladies that are here presenting are requesting to be able to use that piece of land to do the project that they presented about.
And when you just said they, you mean the city?
No, they as in the ladies who are.
No. You said they were looking to put a park in there?
So it's slated to be park land. The city hasn't had opportunity to develop it because there's no money.
Okay.
About 5 years ago, this commission worked with that Coyote Run on that land and approved a grant to be used for playground equipment for that park. Then all of a sudden it kind of went, do you know anything that's happened with that, Haley? Is that still in the works?
So let me touch on that, Ellen, because when I first got here and we were talking about applying for that Prop 68 grant for the Whitewater Park that we had the design done for, the grant project that we were going to be applying for that particular space didn't allow us to apply for the playground equipment because of surrounding area park space. While it may not necessarily be open public park space, it was still considered park space. And so that's what threw a wrench into that grant application. But there are other grant projects like Kaboom that we could research to get playground equipment there if that is not, if the composting idea is not the direction the commission wants to go in.
You said Kaboom. That rings, I would have to go back to my files. I thought that's who we met with back about, this was before you were our director.
Yes, it was way before I got here.
And Haley, has any discussion or brought into the group the Four Seasons gated community there? Are they on board with you?
We have not spoken with the Four Seasons yet. We are scheduled to do a presentation to the 1PS neighborhood organization in September.
Okay.
And when did, oh, I'm sorry, I went out of turn.
I mean, there's actually quite a few hands raised. And so Jerry, I don't know if you're calling on the feature with a hand raised or we just raise our hand. Can you clarify for us?
It's not showing on my screen, the hands raised.
Got it. Got it.
As I see them, so please.
Okay, so Dieter's hand has been up.
And they move to the top left. When their hand raised, they move to the top left automatically.
Go ahead, Dieter.
So my question is, and this is for city staff, is this Coyote Run's property, Coachella Valley Housing Coalition, or does the city own this property?
It's a city-owned piece of land, but the tricky part about it is it's on the inside of the brick wall. And so it's kind of a deceiving piece of land, which would suggest that it's a Coyote Run piece of property. And that's why I wanted the ladies to come before you and present, because one, I know the commission likes to know, is there community involvement and support? Have the surrounding communities been reached out to get their input? Or are we just making moves to make moves, right? I know that's really important to the commission, so I wanted to make sure that you got the opportunity to listen to the ladies present the idea, and then the commission move forward from there. Because I've also heard the commission say, our children are really important. We want to see more playgrounds, more different activity type of stuff. So this is a city-owned piece of land. It's just really tricky the way it lays.
Okay, thanks for that part. And then one more, as far as Coachella Valley Housing Coalition, I know they have a YMCA kids club program that they work with here in Desert Highland that's been really successful. Are we working with Coachella Valley Housing Coalition? Because I really like the community garden and the educational center element, but I just want to make sure that also we're not taking up a potential park space in the area that we know has been underserved, underrepresented. We've been trying to get a park in that area forever. So I would love to have community input and make sure that they actually want the community garden as well.
So Dieter, our coalition really envisions three things. We envision a compost yard and an open green space and an education component to this. So the first step is just to build up the soil, and compost is the foundation of all soil. So basically what we're saying to the Parks and Rec is, hey, this is a totally new way of doing things. We don't have to like bring in a bunch of soil. we're going to make it for you, and we're going to save water in the process. And then, oh, by the way, we'll create a green space for the surrounding neighborhoods, and we'll get the communities together and we'll say, what do you want to see for the next stage? And so our coalition has been taking it step by step. We just recently got a translator, and I'm going to be meeting with Councillor Garner so that we can organize a community meeting and say, we're yours. You tell us what you'd like to see. So I absolutely believe in interviewing the people that live in that surrounding area, including the folks at the Four Seasons and the Upper West Side.
Thank you. Susan, your hand's up.
Thank you. Haley, I just had a question about sort of the responsibility of the community members with respect to the composting. Would the current model essentially be members of the community bringing their own compost to the site, or do you have any elements whereby you would be initiating some sort of collection or something proactive on your side so that the community members can sort of have you come to them?
Sure. So we're planning on creating a couple different options. The certified farmers markets have agreed to partner with us for drop-off locations. And then we're also planning on being able to receive food scraps and organic material at certain time frames during the day at the site. So we'll make it accessible for as many people as we can.
But to clarify, you wouldn't be establishing sort of like PSDS does, something like a daily or a day of a week where you would come to different communities to pick up.
That's an idea in conversation, because right now we understand there are some folks that don't have the accessibility. They don't have the freedom to go and drop it off at the market, and they work 9 to 5. So I want to make sure, our coalition wants to make sure that those folks who want to choose the community composting option can, and they can either bring it and donate it on site or at any of our drop-off points, or we're looking into having resource recovery runners, so folks that are using electric vehicles or bicycles to be able to pick up from households that don't normally have access. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Ellen, you have a question. Your hand's raised.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. So, wow, really interesting conversation. I want to just really commend you guys. I moved here 8 years ago from San Francisco, and it's a law. And so composting is a part of our law there. And they are teaching it in elementary schools. And what's really fascinating is the awareness and the exposure of little people when they start to really understand composting and then ultimately gardens. And I'm a big fan and a component of gardens. I know many of our schools have gardens, and we've worked with those schools in enhancing those gardens. Composting and gardening gives young people an opportunity to really understand not just sustainability, but really about food, about nutrition, about health. I mean, I couldn't think of a better place than in a community that is a food desert and doesn't have exposure to natural resources like gardening. Not every one of our elementary schools or middle schools, have gardens. So I do think it is something to consider. From what I've seen, I did a little bit of research around that area as I was just looking at houses. And I know that Coyote Run has play structures for little kids. What I saw for Coyote Run was really the older kids that really wanted to play soccer. And I do think that our community is missing a soccer experience and soccer parks and other types of activities for older kids. So I love it. I commend you for it. I'm already collecting my stuff. So wherever you land, I will be bringing my things over there. And I do think it is a great opportunity to engage young people in the garden and in the process through education. And when I first came to the desert and was working with school gardens, there was a woman in town who designed school gardens to look like pizzas. And so they were growing everything that would be on a pizza, tomatoes and basil, and then they would actually take the items from the garden and make the pizza, and they could eat the pizza. And when I saw little kids have this experience, you know, it really shifted my understanding of composting and compost gardens to a whole new realm. And so I encourage us, whether you want to do community meetings or what, but I would encourage us as a commission to really look at the needs of Coyote Run and the age appropriateness. And so I think little kids have, like I said, the play structure. I think all kids and families could participate in a garden, and maybe we need to think about what we can create for our middle school and high school. That would be outside of, because that's a very small piece of land, and I can't imagine a play structure, you know, like a 13-year-old is really going to enjoy a play structure as much as something else. So good job, you guys.
Thank you. So we're envisioning a park-like space for all ages. And in our minds, you know, playing in the dirt is as good as anything. I enjoy it, but again, I'm a gardener, and we have a healthy cross-section of master gardeners on this coalition. So we're really open to, you know, interviewing the community again and asking them what they would like to see. I love pizza gardens, and there's nothing like being able to grow a tomato from soil that you personally had a hand in making.
I'm not trying to do this, but I'm trying to move this meeting along, everybody. We're already past the time quite a bit. So I got another hand up right now too. Prima?
Hi, everyone. I just want to make a comment because I'm one of the coalition members who attended the 1 week to 5 days training program that's conducted by Cal Recycle and Green Spaces. I just want to, you know, there are many questions around this. We want to have a compost. Is it going to smell? Is it going to create some issues? But one kind of presentation I want to do, I'm actually in my backyard. These are the 2 buckets of compost, cat litter buckets I'm upcycling. And this is the compost bucket I started 4 months ago. And this is the bucket I started after coming from the meeting, from the camp. And they don't smell. It's really good compost. I'm using it in my garden. And this compost space is really going to create an education center, starting from kids to people who want to have healthy food, healthy green spaces. But there are a lot of questions, and we are happy to answer all the questions and clear anything that people surrounding us want to ask us. So that's it. Thank you.
This is one of the reasons why I'm suggesting we need to have the community talk. Everybody needs to get together. We need to have a talk before we move forward on this, I feel. How does the commission feel on this as well? What's their thoughts?
Jerry, just like we've done with all these other things, pickleball, swimming pool, dog park, we need to have a meeting, and we need to have it in that community area. And you know, these folks could go door to door and put a flyer on the door of what time and somewhere there, right there in Coyote Run, and also invite those of us that live right around the area and give them a chance to come and listen to these gals and listen to the presentation. And then we would get feedback from that as commissioners, and then we would have a better idea of what the general consensus of that group of folks is, and then go from there, bring that back to the.
Can we make sure that when you guys do your community outreach for the meetings, that you guys reach out to Golden Sands as well?
You're muted, Haley. Oh, okay.
Yes, it's on our list. I just want to make sure everyone knows, like, these are all steps that we're taking, and so you're echoing the things that we're working on right now, and so I'm glad we're all aligned. And I love the idea of a community meeting, and that's what I'm going to be talking to Councillor Garner about. But this presentation we were doing for you tonight was kind of a last minute eking us in, just so that we could introduce the idea to you. So I'm absolutely like happy to come back to this commission and say, look what we've done, look who we've talked to, and look what they're excited about. But I have talked to both of the managers at Coyote Run, and I would love to keep those conversations going, but their initial response was yes, please, and this would be very well received.
Will you give us, once you, the community meetings, will you send me the dates over there so I can drop by and observe and take some pictures so that I can bring back and showcase to the commission when you come back to present?
Absolutely. We'd love to have anyone and everyone who's on this commission join us. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, me as well, please. I'd love to. I'm in the local area. I'll be right there.
All right.
I live right around the corner. If you could give Cynthia the dates beforehand, and she'll push it out to us so we can all get by it down there.
Now I know we're neighbors, so it'll be nice to see you in the neighborhood.
Alan, I saw your hand up. Do you still have a question, sir?
I was just going to say that this is more, I thought, Patrick's sustainability group to have the community meetings, because it's not really a park. And while I do like us being able to be involved with knowing what is going on, I think this is more Sustainability Commission's function of putting something together. Just a thought out there.
So we're still in conversations with them, and what they recommended was that we talk to you guys specifically about the site. They're not the holders of the keys on that one. So
yeah, I think this is a dual venture for both commissions. So
it is, and our goal with the Sustainability Commission is helping them meet the goals of 1383 and 1826, which are massive. So it takes a village to do this, and that's why we came to Parks and Rec and said, hey, we want to be able to bring this to our community, and we want to be able to meet the state mandates and also create something of beauty and value for the community.
And I just want to highlight all of the kinds of projects around many areas. LA County works with parks and community composting, same with San Diego County. So this is something that Parks and Recs throughout the state have kind of embraced this as a way of seeing organic matter from park sites be transformed into soil. We have data from sites that we've stewarded where within the first year, we've improved the water holding capacity of sites by 5-fold. And we can show that on parkland. We can create it as a space that offers a diversity of programming within the parks. So we really want to highlight it as a space that could be really beneficial in terms of a broad range of community benefits, not only safe gathering space, urban greening, places for educational programming, but also places where you're changing the actual soil and water holding capacity, reducing emissions, etc. So just as a highlight to that, we want to kind of tell you an open dialogue so that like those experiences of other parks could inform this space to be a successful space. And also within our team, we do a lot of community-led design. So I'm hearing that as some of the desire of the commission. And it's great to get your feedback out of this early stage so that we can be responsive to including those things. So I want to appreciate the concerns and things that have been elevated. I'm hearing really clearly the desire for community input and even some community input in the design process. Those are definitely things that we could support as the funding agency for the work. And we're happy to do that. It's part of our goals is community composting for green space. We want to see communities empowered in doing this work. So we resonate with that, and we'll be happy to follow through with those requests.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm going to take this last question. We're going to move on to Measure J. Ellen, you had your hand up?
Yes, sir.
No? All right, so we're gonna get some community involvement. We'll get some meetings and we'll visit this back at a later date. So moving forward, review and discuss commission's project goals for Measure J's commission review.
all right, so I had the two previous sheets from our April 24th goal setting meeting. Miss Camilla's had mentioned that she recalls a wish list part 2 for Measure J and didn't out on it. So I'm bringing this forward so we as a commission can get this going, and then the subcommittee can take it forward and we can work with engineering to get appropriate pricing so that when it comes time to present to Measure J, we'll be ready to go and have realistic pricing in place so we don't run into some of the challenges that we ran into this last go around. So I will turn it over to you guys so we can develop this list and begin to work on it for presentation purposes when we go back to Measure J sometime in October.
Okay. Anything?
I know that from the previous list, lighting and the dog park were a part of the original list. It just kind of got put to the bottom because we requested funding for all these other things like the shade structures, the bathrooms. What else have we done? The pavilion landscaping, acoustics in the pavilion, the flooring at James O'Jesse. So all of those projects were originally a part of the presentation that the subcommittee did to Measure J sometime back for that $1 million timeline. So just about everything we originally presented, with the exception of lighting and dog park turf help, right, made it first portion of the list. So I know you guys have been very vocal on continuing our ventures with helping out our bathroom facilities and other restrooms. Lighting's been a popular topic as well. What else would you guys like to see or have us research so that we could put this potential $1 million list together again?
You know, for me, and I'm not trying to speak up first, but I would like to really look into the Demuth Park, the second parking lot, getting that regraded, because we're going to have to tear that whole thing up, regrade it so it has proper drainage. Because when the sprinklers come on or it rains, you have feet of water in that parking lot. So that's a major issue. I thought we can do a quick Band-Aid repair. It needs to be regraded. I went and looked at it. That's a big one.
I live there, and just this past rain, it's unbelievable what happens over there. I mean, it looks, you can almost water ski on it, bro.
Yeah, I took a picture.
So can I just clarify, Cynthia? I appreciate you doing that overview. So you would like to put a list together of which would add up to basically $1 million to present to Measure J. And is that what the purpose of this time is? May I suggest that we maybe have ideas like, for example, this parking lot at Demuth and so forth, and then Cynthia, you meet with the Measure J subcommittee, because one of the things I think is really important, and what I've heard is, and we're going to be revisiting this, Measure J is looking for a theme and looking for probably something, not a quick and dirty and let's get this done because we have an extra $1 million. I mean, there's a huge excess of funds that the city did not prepare for because of COVID. And so I think that Measure J is looking for something maybe that has a little more velocity than here's a list of 10 items that cost $1 million, and we think that you can get this done with the overage, the excess money that you have. So I think they're really looking for something that we've done before. And one of the topics or themes that comes up in listening to the parking lot, knowing about the ground coverage at the dog park, knowing about lighting, knowing about shade for the playgrounds and for our parks, comes up a safety issue. This all sounds like safety, that, the way the parking lot is with the flooding, I saw it today, I was by there today, this is a safety issue. The ground covering at the dog park is a safety issue. The holes, the digging, people are falling. And then the shade, we don't have a sufficient amount of shade in our parks. And this is a health and a safety issue. So I would say we can use this time just to toss out ideas. And we know on our offsite, we had our top 5, priorities. And then the Measure J committee can package it and bring it back to the commission to show everybody. That might save a little bit of time tonight. I see Cynthia shaking her head. Yeah.
I would like to add on, Cynthia, to get some prices for the subcommittee. And whatever prices you get, we'll double them.
Well,
We
I'm
know.
planning on working directly with engineering for the pricing, which we didn't do last time. So we will go that route. They do know I'm eventually going to be coming, so we can have some discussion. But if we can get the list of ideas together so that the subcommittee can work on it and then bring it back, I think that's a fantastic idea. Also want to make sure that we don't overlook the playground resurfacing for other park areas as well, because none of this stuff really has been put on a maintenance schedule. So I think this might be a great time to take a look at that too. And maybe even replacing some of that equipment. So I'll have to get with the parks maintenance supervisor to see what the age of the structures are. So we can also take a look at that and go from there.
Right. And I think that also is safety. And do we know if the restrooms, if the trailer bathroom was moved from the dog park over to the James O. Jesse Center?
I don't believe.
Desert Highlands.
Ellen, that doesn't belong to us. That one belongs to the airport commission, and it has to stay close to the airport. When we got it to use at the city, it was because it's across the street. I don't think they'll allow us to take it that far, I'm afraid.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I think we should ask. I think we should ask if we could. I understand, Alan, they did say that, but it's off airport property.
Does an alarm go off and it locks up or what?
Use us?
Alan, I said, does an alarm go off and it locks up or what?
When
if it gets too, I'm just joking around.
It's just the airport, when they have an emergency, they wanted it across the street because someone hit a water line and then knocked them out inside, and they had to come over and get it. They just, I know they liked it there, and that's the only reason that David was able to get it before when we talked. Also, Cynthia, would you ask, I heard Don say something about they're going to tear the restroom down at Demuth and build a new one. I didn't know we had that on the list. That was going to be on my next year's list. Is that already approved?
So that project was on the list previously because there's issues. Hey, Stacy, do you recall? See if she's still on here.
Stacy, we're here.
As a part of, so that restroom did get CDBG dollars allocated to it as well, because they're not very functional. So they were on the restroom adventure for remodeling and all of that good stuff. There were just issues because I think originally it could have been considered a historical building because of the architectural design.
I'm not sure which one they're talking about, whether it's that little square one up there closer to the street or the one on down. Either, do you know? You're shaking your head.
I think it's the one by the pickleball courts and the tennis courts. That older one that sits there is pretty bad. The last time I went in there.
Oh yeah.
It's that little one. Yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah, that one needs to be torn down and redone, but I didn't know that we got that approved. That's good to hear. If not, we'll put it on here to get money. If we don't have money there, we want it there.
100%.
All right, so
That one is approved. It is being replaced.
Yeah, so far I have the parking lot over by fields 5 and 6. I have lighting, dog park turf, playground structure, playground resurfacing and structures.
And then also, Cynthia, I'd like to see us do a study of the community needs. I saw that one was on the top 3 selections of a lot of the commissioners, just so we can we're not just going by what we want to see or what staff thinks should be in the park, but actually hearing from the community as well.
And if we're under budget, I'd love to see a restroom at Francis Stevens Park.
So I'll do a restroom at Francis Stevens and at City Hall Dog Park, because I know that's also been a request for a long time.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
What about some water features at some of our parks? Remember we had talked about the turtle things going away and nothing ever coming back.
Yeah, that land space we were talking about might be a good area for that.
Water features, water features.
Do a nice little big large splash pad like you would find at the Victoria Gardens.
That'd be cool.
Look out, Palm Desert.
Okay.
The garden would have saved a lot more water.
Well, we can do recyclable water and it can water the rest of the parks in that property. What else?
This is Travis. I just want to say I kind of find this discussion a little concerning. I mean, we're just throwing out ideas that commissioners have for funding when usually we have a long process discussion about this. It's a little odd to me. I mean, I could throw out a whole bunch of ideas, but I just don't think it's the right place to do it. But I do want to ask about several months ago, Commissioner Diaz brought up this equipment in the parks, and I thought we passed a resolution asking for this fitness equipment. This is something the commission has already voted on and debated, and I don't hear those kind of things. Are there things that we've already asked for that should be on this list rather than just commissioners making their own personal wish lists for the different communities?
Well, we're making a list, Travis, of all of your guys' ideas so the subcommittee can research what the pricing is going to be, and together you can vote on the list that will be presented to Measure J. So I have added the exercise equipment at parks to this list.
Yeah, we had a special meeting back in April over this.
Yeah, there's a list that's already been made, and Cynthia, you had circulated it, and we voted and we did surveys on it. We were very intentional. We spent a lot of time, and we have our top 10 list. And we one of them, I think, was number one, was continuing the projects. That was the number one priority, is what was under construction and already allocated as a timeline and for funding was continuation. And then there were two other ones. One was dog park and there was another one. So I kind of agree with Travis, and I think it's good to get ideas out there, but we did come together as a group specifically for this. So thanks, Jerry, for bringing us back to home base. And then Alan, if you could send out a email to the subcommittee, and so we can get it on a calendar and start to put something together so Cynthia can get some quotes and some prices. I think Measure J is going to want to get things to City Council by October. That's what I've heard. So I think we need to get in front of Measure J by September, the absolute latest.
I don't think we're slated to go before Measure J until October.
Oh, okay. So it's October for Measure J. Thank you for that.
All right. Any other further discussions on that? Let's move this meeting forward to the committee assignments, ad hoc committees, reports and updates from ad hoc committees.
All right, so I highlighted the yellow, in yellow, those who are no longer with us so that we would know where we would need to add some people. I mean, if you guys want to, you can look at arranging some. It's up to you.
The job of the chair is to appoint, and Chair, I would recommend that you appoint yourself to Measure J because it's a very important one. That's where we get our money.
Yeah, see, I'll step up to Measure. I was looking at two different things. I'll step up to Measure J and I'll step up to Sunrise Park too, because I'm there all the time. You know, and I've already noticed quite a few things going on there. I think that's supposed to be one of our flagship parks. Like the more that's getting fixed up, the more you're seeing that needs to be fixed up.
And Jerry, as kind of our chair, maybe you can check in with the city. You and Cynthia can do a little kind of digging to see where the city is at. Last we heard around Sunrise Park is there was a master plan, and we haven't heard anything since then. And so that kind of put the brakes on our kind of Sunrise Park discussions.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll get on that as well. Do we have any, we have 2 new commissioners, correct?
3.
3 new. Is anybody, our subcommittees are, we have a dog park subcommittee. We have the Sunrise Park subcommittee. We have art in the park subcommittee, Measure J subcommittee, as well as the restroom subcommittee, which is for all the new restrooms being built, and our park naming subcommittee. If any of those sound of interest to anybody.
Yes, sir. Could I interject with regard to Measure J subcommittee?
Yes, sir.
Jerry, I live right by Sunrise Park, so I'd be happy to help out with that subcommittee as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So we got Susan on for Measure J. Michael, you'd like to do, or I'm sorry, Susan is for Sunrise. I apologize. Michael, you'd like to do Measure J?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Christopher, is anything jumping out at you, my friend?
Well, I had mentioned when I originally was interviewing for the commission that I live right across from Sunrise Park. So anything I could do to help in that area, I would definitely like to be a part of that.
Well, let's get you on Sunrise Park as well. And we got all our new commissioners and all the subcommittees. That's pretty awesome right now. That's good. It's a good setup. Yes, sir.
Chair, how many do you have on Sunrise? You cannot have a quorum.
That would be 6, so.
You can't have 6 because a quorum would be 5 or 6.
I could get
6.
I'll go off of the Sunrise Park one and let them do that.
Thank you, Johnny.
Absolutely.
So Johnny will step off and I'll kind of take over Johnny's spot on that one. Hop on Sunrise. All right. Thank you, Alan, for catching that too. I'm still learning all these.
Just things that we got caught on a couple times.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And keep in mind, if the commission drops down below 11 people, we got to be careful.
Yes, sir. All right. So is there any other updates on the ad hoc assignments? All right. We did all our reports from the ad hoc committees. Any new reports? Sorry.
Jerry, I will just say that I just sent an email to Dog Park Committee, John and Travis. And Travis, while we have you on the phone here, if you could just look at your schedule, see which day after work would accommodate a quick call with John and I, that would be super great so that we can move this forward, because we'd like to be able to give Cynthia some information so she can get some pricing on it. We have a lot more work to do before that.
And Cynthia, once you get some pricing and all for the Measure J, would you direct us to when we can put a call together?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everybody. So moving on forward from that, let's move on to reports, commissioner comments. We'll open this section up for commissioners to comment, have any questions, comments, or concerns about Parks and Recs, and now's the time to share.
Hey, Jerry, if you'll go off of your screen and just go.
I was just going to say, let me go top left. Okay. I'm learning this now. Thank you for showing. I'm going to say, let's go top left. So let's
Look,
go.
I got my cheat sheet to help me stay in line here.
All right. So, Alan, do you have any comments or anything, sir?
You're on mute, Alan.
I'm unmuted. Nothing new to add, but I want to say, Jerry, you did a phenomenal job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I'm going to thank you very much. I'm going to go move over to John. John, you got any questions, comments?
No questions. My only comment is I thought the July 4th events were outstanding. I got a ton of positive feedback from people in my community. So I think if we can continue to do those kind of things, it seemed to resonate with people as far as people I spoke to.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Jody.
First of all, to the rest of the commissioners that are new, we don't usually go this long, so don't feel like you want to drop out and run away right now. Secondly, there's a lot to tackle, and I feel as a group, we've got to stay united in terms of what was mentioned again this evening, which I addressed several meetings ago. Just holding other commissions to be responsible to bring things to us, not before they've already started the process. I just feel really that's a disservice to all the commissions, to them as well, once they've got people ready to start working on something, but they haven't come to us, and then we're the bad guy because we got to shut it down. I just feel like we need to continue that. There's a lot of work to be done right here. There was a lot of things presented to us tonight, and I just feel like we have to take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there, but we also need to take time to meet together and hash this stuff out so that we can get the work done, or choose to not pursue those things. That's all. And Jerry, good job.
Thank you, Jody. Appreciate it. Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, just to ditto exactly what Jody had just said. Commissioners, don't panic. It's never this late. This is one of the longest ones we've ever had. But yeah, stay united. Get involved and get out to these parks and take a look at what's going on out there, and just walk them all if you can. And yeah, it was a great meeting, Jerry. Good job. It's very difficult tonight. This was a tough one, but let's stay focused. And again, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take some time, but be a little patient, and let's work together like we do. We have to. Let's get stuff done. That's all I want to do, is get stuff done on this commission. We've got a great park system. Let's keep it going. Kudos to you, Cynthia.
Thank you, Johnny. Christopher.
Are you asking me for my final word or thought?
Yes, sir. Final thoughts or opinion, please.
Well, I'm so new, really. I really, I don't have a final one. I'd have to have a beginning one. But it's great to see what we can do. I've lived in Palm Springs on and off since like 1978, and across from Sunrise Park, and I see the difference, the variables in the different parks between Demuth and the one on the, what's the one? I'm sorry, the one where the tennis courts are. I'm sorry. And Sunrise Park and some of the smaller ones that have popped up in recent years. So I'm just curious where the next iteration, if there really can be, if we can really do some creative things that other cities eventually do. I mean, seeing that we're doing the compositing, that was huge, actually. That was a great idea. I wish I would have thought of something like that. So I hope there's a lot more to do. So. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ellen.
Great, thanks, Sherry. You did a great job, Jerry. Really, just congratulations. This was a tough meeting, like Johnny said. You cut your teeth on it. You were fantastic. You led us right through it. I will echo what Jody said. So thank you for those wise words. And I actually was very excited. I thought tonight's meeting was very juicy, had a lot of meat on the bones. I feel super energized. So thanks.
Thank you, Ellen. Susan.
I don't have too many substantive comments. Just thank you for allowing me to be a part of the committee. It's really interesting. I used to work for the city of LA. I worked for Mayor Villaraigosa, and we were really tasked with a lot of the green space progress back in 2008, 2009. So I'm definitely familiar with how these things can be kind of contentious. And I thought that, everyone approaching this with an open mind is really wonderful. So thanks for letting me be a part of it. And I'm happy to help however I can.
Thank you very much. Michael Finland.
Yes, I just want to say also, along with my fellow new commissioners, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be a part of the group. I just found this to be an amazing think tank and exchange of ideas, a vast array of ideas. And I came away with a lot of thoughts in moving forward as far as different ideas, different concepts, and different things that could be brought to the table. I was absolutely fascinated to learn a great deal with regard to the Coyote Run Compost. And I'm very much looking forward to work with the group on different initiatives. And my hats off to all of you, a very committed, enthusiastic group. And we're all looking to do things that would greatly benefit a city that we're very fond of and a city that we love a great deal. So again, my thanks to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Thomas.
She's not a commissioner, Chair.
All right, thank you.
But I would like to say something for the Arts Commission. If there's anything as an arts commissioner that I can do to do the communication better, please let us know, because that's all we want also. Sorry, I know I wasn't supposed to talk, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we really do want to work in tandem with you all.
Thank you. Dieter.
Yeah, just want to say good to know that we've got some space over there in the Coyote Runs area that can possibly create some programming. That area is really underserved and underrepresented. You guys may or may not know if you're watching the news. We don't have much for our teens to do over here up in this area past San Rafael. They've resorted to gang war. We've got 15-year-olds out here shooting at each other. So we really need to do something up in that area and create some programming over around Coyote Run and the 2 trailer parks. So glad to see that happening and really excited about all the other stuff that was mentioned tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. And I agree with that statement. The phone in is, who's on the phone?
Commissioner Armstrong.
Mr. Armstrong.
Hi. I just want to support what Dieter and Jody said, their comments I fully support. I do mention you were an hour, I think, past our meeting time, and when we get back to meeting in person, I think there's an issue with when we have these public presentations, there's not a lot of order to them, you know, and it can get really super repetitive and eat up a lot of time, and also at the expense of commissioner comments. As the director mentioned, we are advisory, and so there should be enough time for people to have all their comments. And tonight's meeting did run super long, and I think that some of the public comments presentations could have been have a time to them. And then just for example, we just had somebody from the public, you know, burst in and make a comment during commissioner comments. It's just, I think we need to look at how the meeting management so we don't run over like this.
Thank you much. And as far as I go, all I got to say is just for the Parks and Recs, the staff is doing a great job. You know, the summer camp, I take my kids to one of them, and they're, you know, it's a lot of kids our Parks and Rec is dealing with, and they've done a fantastic job at all 3 places for years and years, and it just gets better and better. And just kudos to you and your staff, Cynthia. So from here, that's it for commissioner comments. I'd like to get a motion to adjourn. Alan? Johnny?
Who was the second?
Johnny?
Johnny.
All right, everybody, with the first and the second to adjourn, I want to call this meeting, and our next meeting, remember next month we are off. City takes next month off. So our next meeting is going to be September 27th, 2021 at 5:30 via Zoom. And just appreciate everybody taking the time. I know it was a long one this time, so thank you, everybody.
Jerry, do you need a full vote to close the meeting or just the motions?
I need a full vote. Thank you very much. Sorry, Alan. I'm ready to run. That's what you can tell.
Yeah, all of us. I got it. So all in favor, right?
Please, yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Looks like the
Have a great August, everybody. See you in September.
Take care, everybody. Bye, Ellen.
Bye.
Take care.
See you. Bye, Jody.